What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Monday. I am here, of course, to do my review of the Real Housewives of Potomac, and I can tell you the season premiere last night was absolutely fantastic, 10 out of 10. And so I'm going to be down here in these YouTube streets doing my review. Now, last year, I didn't do a review. After the whole thing with Candace and Chris and all of that, I wasn't excited about season 9 at all, but I can tell you guys for sure I am excited about season 10. I think it's going to be a really good season with all of the, additions and everything that's going on. I'm excited about it. What about you guys? I hope you enjoyed the season premiere, and if you haven't seen it, I hope I give you enough details just to let you know and let you in on what really went down. Now, Real Housewives of Potomac for me, guys, it's personal to me in a sense because I am from Washington, D.C. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I didn't come here just for school or anything like that. I literally grew up in Washington, D.C. I even went to Howard University, HU. And I also, I'm still in the area. So I just wanted to let you know that, of course, this is my life. This is, hey, I know all about those areas and where you see them going. I'm very familiar with everything sort of surrounding Potomac. So this is going to be fun for me in a sense because, like I said, this is home for me. So let's get into it. Of course, this is episode 10, like I said, and this is season 10, episode 1, and it was called Second Balloon. Now, the actual episode, I don't want to say the season because we know that Karen Huger will be incorporated into the season. But this particular episode, it opens up let me just show you guys. I have my notes so you can see the opening scene. It was on 9/2/25, which was September 2nd, 2025 at 10 a.m. Karen Huger was released from jail. We saw her. We didn't really see her face. We really didn't get a whole lot, but we saw her in the vehicle. She was mic'd. She was asking for tissue. You could tell that she was somewhat overwhelmed about sort of getting out of prison, and that was a really good thing. So we saw the car sort of pull off, and that was that. The scene immediately moves to Giselle's house. Giselle is having a get-together at her house. All of the ladies are coming over to actually talk about this whole thing with Karen. Let me say this. They said 6 months earlier. So Giselle and the girls were filming, I think, in March of 2025. Right after Karen was sentenced. When Karen got out, like I said, that was 6 months later. So we saw that. So now they're going back to the original start date of when they actually filmed the show or began filming the show. So, of course, like I said, Giselle is having something at her house. She's there and she's sort of getting things ready. She's preparing. I think look like she has like little, snacks and treats for the ladies who are actually coming over. They all come over. I think Ashley arrived first, and then we see Wendy and Kiana who happened to come together, and then we saw Stacey arrive. They all sort of gave their feelings about Karen and what happened. They all agree that they don't want Karen in prison. We know what she did. We understand and let me just say, just living, like I said, in this area, DUIs are taken very seriously. I think Karen has gotten a slap on the wrist for quite a while, but I think they had to eventually deal with her. So we understand why she had to go to prison. But the ladies were just saying that they really didn't want her there. They were concerned about just her age, how she was going to do. Stacey said she was really concerned about her daughter Raven, and they just sort of, just really kind of honed in and just kind of rallied around the fact that they hope that Karen is okay and that she will be well until she can return home. Ashley made a little joke about, something that Karen mentioned while she was drunk. We all saw the video where Karen called herself Thomas Jefferson's concubine. So, of course, Ashley sort of lightened the mood with that. And some of the ladies, you can tell their reactions like, oh, God. Because, we know Karen was drunk boots, like she said in the video. Oh, I'm lit. So we knew Karen was lit in that video, so she probably had no clue as to what she was even saying. But like I said, they were just trying to make light of a very heavy situation. Of course, Ashley is the pot stirrer. I don't even want to call Ashley a force multiplier, as Carlos King likes to say. Ashley just loves to stir the pot. I will say this, her and Giselle get the party jumping every season with someone new that they're going to hone in on and focus on and try to take them down. So as it appears right now, guys, it appears like it is the takedown of Stacey for season 10. Ashley immediately goes into Stacey and starts questioning her about TJ. Stacey says, I still, hey, I still stand by what I said. TJ is a liar. We were friends, and I stand by the fact that I said I did not pay him to date me or to come on this show. Of course, the ladies are not believing that. Wendy says she's standing by what she said. Now, Wendy's standing 10 toes down because this is what TJ told her husband. And of course, Wendy is taking the stance of, you're not going to make it seem like my husband was lying. I don't think it's not that. TJ has had a full year. We are now in October of 2025 to produce the receipts that he said he had. He's never produced anything. So obviously, we're going to just say that perhaps TJ was lying. I think that Stacey and TJ had came together for whatever reason. There are some truths to what Stacey's saying, and there could be some lies that she's also telling. But the truth of the matter is that they're harping on TJ, who again is no longer on the show, and again he still hasn't produced the receipts. But like I said, they want to take Stacey down, so they're going to continue to harp on those things all season long. So now Stacey is the biggest liar of the group. Even Kiana got in on the action, and I was kind of shocked at Kay that she spoke out so freely against Stacey. But again, like I said, it looks as though Kay isn't very good with Giselle and Ashley and the girls, so now she's sort of getting her footing, or she wants to, make her voice known in the group. And I love what Stacey said. They're throwing the shade very early. Like, she was like, oh, Kay is so vanilla, and she had nothing going on last year, and now she wants to comment on me. And I loved it, because I feel like I want these girls to be honest about their feelings. I don't want them jumping on everybody's bandwagon. And what I love about Stacey is, even though Stacey's in the hot seat, she is handling her business. She is standing on her own, and I can respect that about her. Now, what I didn't like is that, of course, she got super angry and she decided to leave. Before she left, everyone was talking about it. Stacey even said, she said, look, I was humiliated by TJ. I didn't like what TJ did. I was humiliated by him. And of course, as ladies, you should be able to understand that. Giselle said, no, I don't get that. Well, Giselle, hold on. We can go back a little bit. You were embarrassed on TV because you were embarrassed by Sherman, and you were also embarrassed when Monique at the end of season 5 called out Jamal Bryant's phone number, and you had to admit that that was his phone number, and that was the same number that he was using to text another woman, saying that what you guys had going on was actually fake. You weren't in a relationship. It was just for the show. So yes, you have been humiliated in a way, but I get it. You don't like Stacey. You want to take her down. So this is what you're going to do. So again, Stacey left. And, the girls just continued the conversation. Giselle went on to say that she met up with some actress in LA. They were at an event for Essence magazine, and this actress actually told them that TJ was going to sue Stacey for, whatever, all the lies and stuff like that. Again, we haven't seen any court documents, legal documentation, no receipts have been shown. So again, it looks like I said, that TJ is just going to continue this farce. And he just wants to make Stacey sort of look bad at this point. But we will see as the season goes on, because again, guys, this is episode 1. So we move on. After that, we see Stacey going to a really nice restaurant. It was very shocking as to who she was with, but she ends up having lunch or dinner. I think it was dinner. She ended up having dinner with her husband, or her soon to be ex-husband or whatever the case it is. Last season, Stacey told us that she was in the process of getting a divorce for her husband from her husband. However, they were taking things slow because of their daughter, Arabella. They didn't kind of want to rock her world too much, but Stacey insisted that she was going to get a divorce. Now it looks like they've backpedaled a little bit, and if you could see what I wrote right here, you probably can't. I said it's cheaper to keep her, and I think that's what the husband is doing. It's cheaper to keep her. I don't know if he's all in. I think Stacey could sort of fall back in love with him. I'm not sure about him. But Stacey is saying that, hey, they're going to work things out, but they're going to keep it quiet for now. Why they're keeping it quiet is, that's their business. They didn't really expound on that, but they said they're going to keep it quiet. And what I said is, while the other ladies are hopping on TJ, Stacey is actually moving on with her ex-husband right now. So TJ to me right now is sort of null and void, because see, now we have a bigger issue, or we have something else to talk about, and that is her ex-husband. So we moved to Kiana, and I'm going to call her Kay. Everyone calls her Kay, so I'm just going to call her Kay. Kay has actually moved on. She has a new condo. It's very, very nice. I love to see, women doing their thing. It's a beautiful condo. It's definitely has that Kay flavor. Kay is sort of very stylish, and I really kind of could see her personality in her condo. She actually, her mom was there with her, and they were just having a conversation. They talked a little bit about Greg, and from what we remembered last year was that her and Greg were having issues. They actually broke up shortly after filming the season, or right after the reunion. They broke up. It was said that Kay was single again, but then Kay told her mom that Greg asked her, once she kind of moved on and got her own place, that Greg asked her to go to Jamaica, and she went with him on the trip. And so now they're dating again. Her mom expressed, just the fact that she really doesn't want Kay with him, but of course, Kay is grown and she can actually do what she wants to do. I know oftentimes in situations like that, your family or friends, they may not necessarily like the person that you're dating, but at the end of the day, what can you do other than just hope and pray for the best? So I really don't want Kay with Greg either. To me, it just seems like she would not be happy with him, or she wouldn't really be able to be herself. Let me say that. I don't think that Kay, with the personality that she has, and all, just being a beautiful woman, just kind of out there, I just can't see Greg really allowing her to be herself. I think that he would definitely put her in a box. So I want Kay to give Greg, the deuces, give him the peace sign and go. So we see Wendy at home. Like I said, and what they're doing, they're just reintroducing everybody and sort of giving you their story and what's going on with them this season. Wendy's at home. Her and Eddie are talking with an interior designer. They're going to actually get their home or their kitchen redone and some things done in their home. They have a really, really nice house, but of course, it's always, you can always make improvements, and I think they want to just do some upgrades at this point. And Wendy said they have the money to do it because Happy Eddie, which is his dispensary line, with the whole the medicinal, weed and everything, he's doing really, really good. So they're going to get some work done at their house thanks to Happy Eddie and all the, money that's coming in. So we love that. So then we see Ashley going to a dress shop. Again, we've gone through the rigmarole with Ashley over the years. I don't want to, let me just say this, guys, because I have to be honest. Like I said, even in doing these reviews and stuff like that, you tend to pick up who people care for and who they don't. I know that we have a lot of Ashley stans. We have a lot of Ashley fans. Not a big fan of Ashley. We've seen the same story with her over the past several years, and Ashley, like I said, just becomes messier and messier every year. But to me, she does that so she doesn't have to really focus on herself and what's really wrong in her life. Ashley has given us a lot with the whole Michael thing, rightfully so, whether she wanted to or not. It was just out there. Michael was doing a whole lot. So again, we see Ashley going into this, store because she's getting ready to host a party, which is called a Second Bloom. She did invite Stacey, but Stacey didn't arrive until some time later when Ashley was there. Now, let me just say this, guys. I want to pause right here. DC is a very stylish city. Washington, D.C., or the DMV, as they call it now, is a very stylish, fashionable, sophisticated city. To see Ashley walking in that boutique with, a denim outfit on with fringes, or I think it had some type of, it wasn't fur, but it was something very frilly and fringy. Some people may have liked that look on Ashley. I'm just going to say people in DC do not dress like that. People, like I said, again, are very, very, very stylish here. When you go out, whether you're going to a basketball game, a football game, whether you're going to a social event, whether you're going to a lounge, whether you're just going out to brunch, whatever it is, please understand people here in the DMV do not dress like Ashley Darby. All right. So I just wanted to just make that clear. Now, I don't know if a lot of you guys have watched Love and Marriage DC. If you watch Love and Marriage DC, then you may be familiar with the Tylers, with Jamie and Arena Tyler. Jamie and Arena Tyler are some of the best dressed people on TV. That is how people dress in DC. If you see them, or if you know them, or if you've heard of them, then that should give you some type of indication of how people dress in the DMV. Ashley Darby, Giselle, and all of them, that is not how people dress in the DMV. Kay has good style too, but again, like I said, we're just sort of being introduced to Kay. Ashley has been on this show since season 1. She's an OG of the show, and she's still dressing crazy to me. But anyway, so Stacey eventually shows up, and they are going to try on dresses because, again, Ashley is having somewhat of a formal event for her. She says that it's a divorce party. She said that she is officially divorced from Michael, so she wanted to throw herself a divorce party. Of course, her and Stacey get into it. They're still talking about the whole thing with TJ. Ashley is really trying to push Stacey's back up against the wall about this TJ thing, and I just don't think that I think that Ashley, I don't want to say Ashley's wasting her time, but I'm going to say she's wasting her time. Ashley, we know you're doing it to keep the storyline going, but at the same time, you're wasting your time because you're not going to get anything else from TJ. Unless you guys have something up your sleeve where you're going to invite TJ to an event and he's going to show up without our knowledge, or surprise everyone and show up, we should not continue to hear about TJ throughout this entire season. What Ashley wants from what she wants from Stacey, she's just not going to get it. She's not going to get a clear answer out of her. Stacey, again, is sticking by what she said. She said that she did not hire TJ, and that's what it is. We have to move on. Whatever your issues are with Stacey, you need it to be that. Then Ashley goes on, like I said, now she wants to just trip, Stacey up on every end. Like I said, there are some things that Stacey's telling the truth about, and there are some things that she could be lying about or stretching the truth about. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, Ashley, it is not your business. We have seen you do this with Robin. We've seen you do this with Sharice. We've seen you do this with Karen. We've seen you do this with everyone pretty much except for Giselle. And still in all, we had to watch you and Michael Darby. We had to watch him cheating on you with both men and women, all of the rumors surrounding your marriage, all of just the other activity that you guys had going on in your relationship or in your marriage. We've heard it all. Ashley, let it go. All right. So again, they get into it, the same old, nothing there. Only thing to me that Ashley and them are doing is making Stacey more of a star of the season. That's what they're doing to me. So, thank you. So, Stacey, thank Ashley and Giselle because they're really turning you into the star of the season, and you will probably have first chair. So then we're introduced to one of the new ladies. Her name is Angel. Angel and Kay are friends. They're good friends. So Kay goes to Angel's house. Of course, they set it up where Angel has not set it up, but Angel has just moved back to Potomac. She's originally from this area, but of course she moved away because her husband played in the NFL for the Denver Broncos. So they were in Colorado for years. Now they're back, and Angel is ready to get her feet wet and get into the mess here in the DMV. Angel is, to me, she has a lot of personality. She's not going to be one who's very quiet. She's going to be vocal. She's going to get in there. She's going to voice her opinion. I do think that she is going to align herself with people too early, and that does happen sometimes. I hope it's not to her detriment, but although she's friends with Kay and Kay is telling her things, I want Angel to try to just get to know these ladies for herself. I think most of the times these newbies, they come in strong, hot and heavy, taking sides, and then they get burned in the process. So Angel, slow your roll. Girl, let's just get to know you and your family and what you do. You're an entrepreneur. We would love to hear more about that. I know that, Angel and Kay are friends, but again, just sort of pump your brakes on that. So Kay was telling her, Angel is somewhat, she doesn't know Wendy, but she's familiar with Wendy. I think they both went to Temple University. Wendy was a little bit or a few years ahead of her, but she is aware of who Wendy is. She knows Wendy in that sense. I could tell that Angel is not a big Wendy fan, and so that lends to Kay's arguments about how fake Wendy has become to her. So they sort of were like bonding over that, and like I said, that could be a problem because I think that Angel may come on too strong against Wendy simply because of what Kay is telling her, but we will see as time goes on. But I think Angel's going to be really, really, really good for the show. We're going to see, Angel is her own person. She doesn't really look like the others. She's she's who she is. And I'm not like attacking her looks or whatever, but Angel is a little thicker than the rest of the other ladies. She's not what you would call like cookie cutter, so to speak. And I think I like that. I think that it gives something different for her. She has small children. We will probably hear a lot more about her journey. We did hear that her mom passed away not too long ago. But like I said, I'm going to give Angel the thumbs up. I hope she has a great season, and I'm looking forward to see what she can give us throughout the season. So we are also introduced to Giselle's friend, Tia. Tia is actually from London, or she grew up in London. I think her roots are in Nigeria, but she grew up in London. I don't want to say she's an aristocrat, but I think she grew up pretty well. Tia is very prim and proper, and we love that. But then at the same time, I just don't see Tia mixing well with these ladies. I think the drama is going to become a little bit too much for her, and I think she's going to sort of be I don't know, she's going to have to take a back seat. I think Angel has much more of a personality, and I think Tia will probably add her 2 cents, but I got a feeling Tia will feel more like a friend of the housewives, and she probably is, but I don't think her presence will be made known that much. Although we saw her in the trailer, I just don't feel like Tia is going to give us that much. I think Jassi is probably more of that personality that we need for the Real Housewives of Potomac. She wasn't on episode 1, but I'm looking forward to seeing them incorporate Jassi into the group. But it was good to see Tia, or to be introduced to Tia. And of course, we saw Charisse. She was at the party. So evidently, Charisse keeps in contact with the ladies. So she's pretty much always around. So Ashley has this second bloom party. Everyone is dressed in pastels. Well, everyone wasn't really dressed in pastels, but it was more like a spring event. A lot of them had to wear, they were wearing like little tiaras. They had on like, long gowns. I wouldn't necessarily say evening gowns, but just a little more formal wear. Ashley came down in a big dress. Wendy wore an extremely big dress. Wendy looked very, very pretty. It was a lot, but it was very pretty, all things considered. And so we get to this event, all of the ladies, Ashley's giving her speech. I love what Angel said, in her confessional when she was like, she went from a bottle girl, to, now this. And so she's doing well because she actually worked for Angel back in the day. Or Angel had some type of connection with Ashley back in the day. And I loved it. She was like, we love to see the come up, And I was like, yeah, Angel's definitely going to get in the mix. But it was good to see. And so, like I said, the party was cool. Everybody was there. They were sort of intermingling. Ashley, although it was her party, of course, Ashley was going to continue to be messy. Her and Stacey sort of got into it again. Stacey said, well, let's just go to the side and talk because you and Giselle seem to team up on me and I really don't want that. Stacey actually brought her friend AJ. AJ is no stranger to reality TV. He was on a show back in the day called Chicago-licious. He's a big time hairstylist and he owned several hair salons in Chicago. So if you look him up, I don't know his last name, but his name is AJ. And again, he has been on reality TV. AJ wanted to light Ashley up, but he didn't want to jump in the women's business. But in a way, I kind of wanted AJ to get in there just as maybe Cal has, Giselle's hairstylist Cal has, or some of the others have. I really wanted him to get in there because he was going to eat Ashley alive. And believe me, you would have probably enjoyed every single minute of it. So, but he was there with her. So I guess he's kind of like her friend. And so Ashley and, they go to the side and they start talking. One of the things I will say, a little side note, is that the other thing about Stacey is not only is she a liar, but that she has bad breath. She has hot breath. Oh my God. That is like the worst that someone can say about you. You should definitely want to keep your breath fresh at all times. It's not just about, I think now people think that it's all about just having white teeth or they're getting all the teeth bleachings and stuff like that. But you have to get dental care. You have to go and get your 6 months cleaning. You have to floss. You have to brush, twice a day or even more than that, depending on how much you eat. You have to brush your teeth. You have to make sure that you don't have like, especially when, you have teeth like way in the back, you have to make sure that you're brushing them and flossing them properly. So I really don't know what's going on with Stacey's breath, but this is just not good. And guess what, guys? This is going to stick with Stacey forever. Like the minute somebody wants to like jab her or to shade her or whatever, they're going to throw that in her face. So I don't know if Stacey, I don't know if it's a health issue. I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's, she's a secret smoker. I don't know if it's coffee breath. I don't know what it is, but Stacey, get that rectified. They didn't say anything about it last year. Maybe it was there last year and they just didn't say anything. But Stacey, they're coming for you. So whatever you need to do, girl, you need to be literally perfect from head to toe because these girls are coming for you. So Stacey, then Ashley, like I said, goes in on Stacey about the whole thing about lying about her marriage. And, Ashley's now doing her research and saying that, hey, Stacey, she said that she filed for a divorce and she's divorced, but the papers aren't online. Well, again, like I said, Stacey already said that she and her husband are trying to work things out, but they're keeping it quiet. But again, like I said, Ashley's just trying to keep the mess going. But Ashley, you look stupid because we had to go at least 4 or 5 seasons with you saying you were divorcing Michael and nothing came of it. We had to endure that. And this is what I missed. See, Candace was the only person that really called Ashley out about her lies. A lot of people didn't like Candace, but Candace was the one that would just read Ashley to the ground and let her know, girl, you can't call out anybody and you can't talk about anybody because of what you're doing. And see, that's what I kind of miss about Candace, because I don't like when Ashley tries to, play this role like, like, oh my God, you're such a liar and you're this and you're that and you're not being truthful and you're not being honest. Ashley, we had to endure. I don't even know how you remained a housewife on this show. I don't even know how they kept you around so long, because you gave us absolutely nothing for the past 6 to, I'm going to say at least you're in season 10. So I'm going to say for the past 4 seasons, we haven't gotten anything from you, Ashley. And you got a nerve to be talking about Stacey, and it's only her 2nd year. But again, like I said, Stacey's going to have to start hitting these girls with some hard facts, and she's going to have to start coming in hot and strong and let these women know, Stacey, get them off you. You got to back them up off of you, because you're looking like a liar, but you're going to have to learn and find a strategic way to back them up off of you. So that conversation, that was that. Giselle and Angel even got in and said, about the whole, Stacey stank breath thing. So that is really a thing. And like I said, I hope that Stacey can get that worked out, because if not, like I said, that's going to be a label that she's going to have on her forever. So then we see Giselle and Kay, they sit down, they're talking, and then Wendy comes up, and so they're all talking. So Giselle was kind of joking and saying, oh, Wendy, you sort of took a page out of my book. You're following in my footsteps with this dress. And Wendy was like, no, actually, no. This is kind of iconic. Yours was not. This is actually a 2-piece. So Wendy was letting her know, like, girl, I would never follow, your fashion sense in any sense of the word. So I thought that was just, cute, light, fun shade, nothing wrong. But anyway, Kay decides to talk to Wendy. Kay is bringing up all of these things. She said that she felt Wendy shaded her about her makeup. When they went to the NAACP Awards, Wendy asked her, did she do her makeup? Kay felt some sort of way about that. Kay never said whether she did her makeup or not, but she said she felt some sort of way about that. And then she said they were doing something for an essence, or they were at some type of event. Wendy was on a panel, and Kay said Wendy sat up there on the panel and she did not wave to her. Now, to me, that sounded like a little girl saying that, like, oh my God, you were on a panel and you didn't wave to me. I'm so hurt. I'm so angry. I didn't necessarily care for that. I understand Kay's feelings, but Kay, why didn't you call Wendy? You're bringing this to the show. I know they bring drama. They want the drama on the show. We get it. We understand it. But to me, it just felt like, it just felt fake. It felt forced. It felt like this was not something that we had to talk about on camera. I could see if Kay said, look, I've been calling you. You haven't been calling me back. What's up? Or I called you and you're constantly doing these things to me. I've spoken to you in private, but it seems like every time we're around someone, you have an issue with me. Like, I could see Kay being more mad. Well, Kay and Wendy were friends, but even Stacey shaded Kay at the beginning of the party. Like, Kay was like, Stacey spoke to everyone, and Kay was like, oh, you don't see me. And Stacey was like, hey. Like, I could see Kay being upset about that, because she could say, well, all the other ladies have said something to you and they've gotten on you, but you're just singling me out. I could see Kay even saying something about that. But then the whole thing with Wendy, I didn't really get that. And I felt like if they are really, really friends, before you switch up on a person, let your friend know. You should go to your friend and let them know. If it's someone you really consider a friend, go to them and let them know how you really feel. And if it doesn't, go anywhere, or they act as if it's not happening, then of course, you take your notes or whatever and you sort of move accordingly. But I just really felt like that whole situation with Kay and Wendy is forced. And Wendy being the somewhat, and I don't want to say this in the wrong way, but Wendy can be sort of arrogant. She can sort of come across very cold and arrogant. So with Wendy being that type of person, this is not going to go anywhere, because Wendy's going to eat her up. Wendy's going to, you know, have her facts lined up, and like I said, Wendy's going to move on and let Kay sort of look like like a whiny little girl. And that's what Wendy's going to do. Like I said, there could be some truth to what Kay is saying. I'm not denying that. But the way it was presented as if Kay was sort of being very petty and a little immature. And like I said, that's not going to fly with Wendy. And so that was the season opener, guys. Like I said, it opened up extremely well. It was really, really good. It was entertaining from beginning to end. I wasn't bored at all. Like last season, I was kind of bored. I know everyone was trying to be light. It was supposed to be love and light, and everyone was trying to be nice, but it was just boring to me. But this actual episode was good from beginning to end. Like I said, looks like Stacey is the star of this season. You know, whether you love her, whether you hate her, she's the star. They're making her the star. And what can we say? We're in for a ride. Like I said, and I'm sure that Karen Huger, the Grand Dame, will return by the end of this season. So I think they're going to have a really, really good season. And we know that Monique is going to be thrown back into the mix. So we will see how it all goes down in Potomac. So hang in there with me, guys. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have subscribed already, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. And like I said, let me know what you think. Let me know how you felt about the season premiere of Potomac. Did you enjoy it? What do you think about this whole thing with Stacey? Do you think TJ is telling the truth, or do you think they need to, you know, let it go? And then also, let me just add this too, guys. Giselle had her scene. Giselle is now an empty nester, and that's all we got. Nothing new, no relationship news, no nothing. And again, she doesn't even have to be forced to be in a relationship. But again, like I said, Giselle and Ashley choose a new person every season to just go after, and that's their whole storyline. So that was it, guys. But like I said, let me know what you think. Do you think Ashley, you know, needs to back off of Stacey? What do you think about the whole Kay and Wendy thing? How do you think that's going to go down? Do you think you know, who do you see coming out as the winner in that? Like I said, Angel's the new girl. Tell me what you think about Angel and Tia. Let me know what you think about them too. Please leave a comment if you like. I love to read your comments. I know that's not everyone's thing, but if you want to leave me a comment, please do. Just be respectful, but I will definitely reply back to you. And if you don't, I still appreciate your support. Like I said, I will see you on the next video, and have a great day. Bye, guys. Bye.